Welcome back to Wellness Wave Radio. Thanks for tuning in this morning to ride the wave with us. Each week our goal is to give you at least one suggestion that will make your life a little better. My name is Phil George. I'm a clinical biochemist, a certified personal trainer, and a health coach. Please remember that everything we discuss on the show is for informational purposes only. It should not be taken as medical advice. We got a great show for you today. I'm here with Jennifer Baker. And Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. I am the owner-founder of RightSized Living. We are a downsizing company. The word right size means, not too much, not too little. So we help our seniors with that very stressful process of moving. So I like to say we take them from being overwhelmed to overjoyed.
And to let you know, Jennifer was on my radio show too. So if you want to listen to it, that was a whole hour, so you get a little bit more into depth. And I can send you over that link if you want to email me, philgeorge@charter.net. Or, as other listeners have done, if you forget Jennifer's website, just email me, philgeorge@charter.net, and we'll shoot it right over to Jennifer. So I just want to let you know, I keep my ear to the ground a lot of times, and I've never heard of this. Ever. And it's funny, everybody that's listened to the show and said, I wish I would have known about that. That's one of the things we're trying to get the word out.
Right.
And as you know, one of the largest segments of the population now is people that are getting over 60, and the other thing is a lot of people now, they have dementia and Alzheimer's, and a lot of times the people, the caregivers, their kids and stuff like that, they may not know what to do, and they're busy doing their daily jobs. So I'll give you, let's just do a thought experiment. So let's just say I have elderly parents, and what I thought about, we had a talk before in the show was, a lot of people, they live in a 2-story house. And a lot of times they lose their mobility, they can't get up and down the stairs. They may have to go to a ranch or to an apartment. They can't take care of the house, and the kids can't take care of them either. So can you tell us basically kind of what you do in terms of what the downsizing means?
Right. So we go in and we help families, like Phil was saying, really downsize and help them with that physical aspect also of moving, but most importantly, the emotional and the sentimental aspect, because there's a lot of things that go into moving. So why do people move? Because they want one-floor living, population shifting, and we're able to help more seniors as we age. But the point of Phil is saying, what do we do? So we go in and we create a plan for them. We first find out their timeline. When are they moving? 3 months, 3 years, and then where are they moving to? So that's really important to know. So then we have those 2 important details. We create a plan and we can move forward. After we find out those details, we are able to pack them appropriately. Each client is assigned a project manager, and that project manager will know their client inside and out. They will know everything about them, what they love, what they need, who their family members are, who their family members, who aren't involved and who are involved. And we become kind of like that neutral party sometimes as well. And so after creating that plan, we're able to pack for them. And we label everything. We send in our team. We bring all of the boxes, all of the packing materials. They do not need to think of an item at all. And part of that process is really kind of going through your items in your home. If you were to look at your home, you have probably 350,000 to 500,000 items that you would have to touch and look at. And that would take a really long time because it took a lifetime to acquire those items. How long would it take to kind of downsize and declutter? So we work with our clients, and they've lived in their homes 40, 50, 60 years, and they have a lifetime of memories. So what we do is we go through and we say, what gives you joy and what is functional? And that really helps with the selection process. Really, what works, what do you use, and what do you love? And that's an easier process to go through, whether it's a closet or a kitchen or a bedroom or a drawer. And really, you'd be surprised if you went home today after the show and just took a drawer or your a clothing drawer or a kitchen drawer, anything, and you would be able to pick out some things that you no longer use. And I think just in general, we have too much stuff. So after we go through that selection process and packing the things that they love and that they use, we set up the movers. So we coordinate the movers to come on site on move day. As with moving, there are many different aspects to moving and many different parts. And what we like to give our clients is that ease of knowing they don't have to do all of those things. They don't have to manage the move. We are the move managers, and we're here for them for every little aspect of the move. We are one point of contact, so that includes calling the movers that are trusted, that are insured, and that we've worked with many, many times. And so we coordinate that. We also coordinate other things with our clients, such as transferring utilities. Some of our clients haven't, changed their service, or are unsure about how to do it, or want their landline transferred, or, possibly their Wi-Fi or other things. And so we work with them on giving them the best information and really kind of coordinating all of those services for them. And sometimes they might need to touch up their homes. Again, we've been doing this a long time. We've built up a number of wonderful resources and professionals that can help our clients with other aspects that include the move. So after we meet the movers on move day, we usually tell our clients to go to breakfast. They don't have to be there. We've already created a plan for them. They know the floor plan as well as floor spacing. Spacing is really important for our seniors. Just because furniture is going to fit doesn't mean that it's going to work for them down the line. So we have to take safety into consideration and mobility. Sometimes maybe the chair and the couch are a little bit too close, and we really want to account for possibly a walker or a wheelchair, or a carpet on carpet, or whatever it may be, to make sure that that floor plan and floor spacing is safe and workable. So we have our crew waiting at the new location, and they bring the stuff over. Working with movers makes it really easy, and I think cost effective, because they only move it once. So the bureau, the table, the couch, they don't have to move it 3 times because we already have a plan. And so by having that plan, it speeds things up and lowers their moving cost.
Hey, Jennifer, what you had mentioned too, obviously time is money, and I think you mentioned before, movers charge by the time, not by the move.
If it's in state. Out of state charges by weight, but yes, in state charges by time. And so the less time, the less cost, and it's a win-win kind of for our clients.
Well, the other thing you had mentioned I found real interesting. So, and again, you also have other people you work with all over the country.
Correct.
So, in other words, you would have another company kind of like yours, let's say in Arizona.
Right. So that's great. We belong to a national organization called NASM, and that organization connects us with 1,000 move managers across the country. In fact, our conference is coming up next week. We're going to Dallas next week for this conference that establishes standards, policies, training, all the things that move managers really should be using and utilizing in their business. And we work with other move managers if they're moving out of country, and we look at their address, their zip code, and a lot of the times we've met them at the conferences. We know that they're excellent. We know their reputation is good. We know that they're insured and they're reputable. So that is huge, because we are, our best interest is the client. We're the client's advocate, and we want to make sure they're taken care of. That's all we're concerned about. So
the other thing I like what you do is, the other thing is, if people are getting ready to move, the big issue is, again, if I'm the caregiver, I'm thinking, well, first of all, which mover should I use?
Right,
So
we'll help you out.
That's off the plate.
Yep.
You've worked with these people before.
Ease of mind.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you know what's happening.
Yep.
And before, time is money. Most caregivers are working too, so they get a full-time job.
So they don't have the time to do what we're doing.
But a lot of times, the other thing I found is a person that are elderly, they may have some dementia and things like that, and they like the commonality. They know everything.
Familiarity.
Yeah.
So it has to be familiar. So when we set up their new home, our team is waiting at the new place, and we set up their new home very similar to their old home. Now, the space is different. The kitchen might not be as large, the bedroom is not as large, but we try to keep things consistent. So if they have a junk drawer and they really want to transfer that junk drawer, maybe they don't have enough space because they have silverware and maybe pot holders or linens or something, we create a space for them and we let them know. So we want to make sure that we bring everything. I've said this before, if a client has a bathing suit between 2 winter coats and it's going back in the front hall closet, that's exactly how it's going to go. You know, they might have a drawer of bathing suits, but no, that's where they remember it. That's where it's familiar. And, you know, we thrive on routine, we thrive on familiarity, and we want to make sure that we're accompanying, you know, their best interest in making sure that everybody's memory, really, I mean, at one point or another can kind of forget, but if it's familiar and it's habit, and then we're able to go and provide that for them, then it's so much easier when they go into their new space. You know, think of somebody going into a new space and saying, oh, this is beautiful, but where is all my stuff? And so, again, that familiarity and keeping it consistent with them is really, really important.
And I think the other big issue is, again, is you're going in there, with the people working for you, sitting down with this person and saying, do you really need this? Do you want this? Or can we just, and you said the other thing, you can also take some of these items and actually sell them.
Right, so that's the other part is, at the end of the day, when we move them in, we call it like a profitable disposal. What are they going to do with their stuff? The stuff that they've accumulated over the years that they love and adore and they used to use and they no longer have use for. So we always say, you know, check with your family. Most of the time, family doesn't want these things. And, you know, don't be offended, but they really don't. I mean, they don't have a space. They don't have, you know, maybe it's a different style. And the usage, you know, entertaining has kind of gone by the wayside, the way that we used to do things. So we no longer use punch bowls or, you know, 12-piece china settings with, you know, 5 different types of cocktail napkins and all of those things. So things have changed a little bit. So there's no really use for some of the items that our clients have. So what do we do with them? So we try to sell them. That's the first thing. We try to get our clients, I call it a little coffee money, if you will, and sell those things. And we sell them to a variety of buyers, consigners. We have buyers for everything. And if they have a surplus of items, we do an online auction because it's kind of easier for them. It's 100% transparent and it's smoother and less time consuming. And so we sell what we can. And then after we sell what we can, there's some items left over, and so we donate. We work with a variety of local shelters, charities. We upcycle, recycle, really try to utilize our clients' belongings. And sometimes things are opened packages or whatever, and we work with them if they're in good condition to give them to those in need. That's super important to us, really give back to the community. Our team is a great team. We have multiple resources, and we're always looking for new resources. So if you're out there and you have a need, please reach out to us. We'd love to donate to you and give to you. You know, look us up online. You know, I think our information's at the bottom, but it's RightSizedLiving.net. So that would be great. And then after we donate, everybody has rubbish. So we coordinate rubbish removal. We are on site for everything, for all the pickups, all the donations, all the selling, all the moving, everything. So you don't have to be, and your family doesn't have to be. Sometimes families are living out of state. We've done many moves where we've coordinated. The family lives in California and their mother is moving from her home here to an independent living or an assisted living. We Zoom. Technology is great. We show photos. They might pick a few things. We pack them and ship them to the family if they want. And we take care of those things as well. So we also inventory. A lot of the times our clients might not have the space, so they want to put some things into storage. I think storage is a dirty word, but we work with them on whatever they need, and we will label, inventory everything to make sure that they know exactly where their boxes are laid out in storage. That's important because if they have something they need to access within the next 3 months, we put it in the front. We don't put it all on the way back. Again, we know our clients, so we know what their needs are. And we work with them on really trying to coordinate, making everything smooth and easy access. Maybe their things in storage are going to go somewhere else in a few months. But again, having that inventory and list is really important for our clients to know exactly what they kept. And then we ship things to other family members. So sometimes they can't be there and they might need some things or want some things. And our clients are certainly not going to, pack those things and coordinate it. So we meet the shippers. We might do some crate shipping and coordinate all of that, pack it, and ship it out of state.
And I think the other thing we want to also mention is you don't want to wait for the last minute to do this.
No, that's so important. So, like I say, if you're moving in 3 weeks, 3 months, or 3 years, please plan ahead and just kind of start the thinking process. You are not going to clear out your basement in one day, and neither are we. We're going to go through it in small, manageable bites with each other and kind of go through what you want. But start looking around your home and starting small. Even today, go to your coffee mugs. I say that to everyone. We have a really large collection of coffee mugs, whether it be greatest grandma, greatest grandpa, Hanover Insurance, whatever it may be, and go through them, because honestly, the mugs we use in the front are the ones we use the most, and we continue to take it out, wash it, put it back, same spot, and the ones on the way back we don't use. Maybe we want to rotate those and they're newer and get rid of the ones that are in the front. But just something small, something simple as, maybe your pot holders. We have a lot of pot holders. Maybe they're worn, ripped, torn, Those are the things that we want to look at. Our drawers, our clothing drawers. Take one drawer at a time. Maybe do one thing every day. You're not going to do 7 drawers or, your Tupperware container. Just work it through in a small way and kind of breathe afterwards and give yourself a reward. Say, you know what? This feels good, and it's contagious, and it kind of catches on like wildfire. When you clean one little spot, you feel like you conquered the world. And then it becomes contagious, and you continue to move on and do it as it goes and as time goes on, and you feel better about making the decisions on your own. I really want to stress that if you can make decisions today and you have control of that, I would do that sooner than later, because maybe you don't want those people to have control of your belongings. Maybe you don't want those people to make decisions on where you're going to move or what you're going to bring. Because if you are able to do that now, I think that that's the best plan that you can do to have this new experience, a new chapter of your life of moving to somewhere new.
Right. The other thing I mentioned on the show too is I have a friend at the gym, and he lives in Worcester, and his parents are up in New Hampshire. He's running back and forth, and he knows. So what happens most of the time with if you're a caregiver, you're seeing maybe the parents are starting to decline. At some point, you're going to need to do something. So and you had suggested maybe starting bringing your team in then.
Oh, definitely.
And starting. So you're not at the last minute. We have to do everything right now. Because the other thing is funny, you should mention, I thought of you actually today, because I go in my computer room, and back, if you guys remember the old days when we used to have CDs, CDs?
Oh, yeah.
I get a stack of CDs this high that I've never listened to, or my son has, and it's just taking up space and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And we have an organization that accepts those, so we'll talk after the show. But yes, we try to resource everything. People do have a lot of stuff, and, again, it's that really making their own decisions. And most importantly is we want our clients to have the dignity and the autonomy to make those decisions. And so if we guide them ahead of time, they start the thinking process, and they start thinking, I really don't need those things. And instead of having our items in our home as, a life preserver, a lot of our times we think we can't get rid of those things because they're holding on to those memories that we've built. They tend to be like an anchor. And so we want to make sure that, we're really utilizing the things that we love, and they don't own us. So now when we move, we kind of have a new life, and we can go out and enjoy our friends, and we don't have to live for our homes anymore and maintain them, and keep all of the shovels and the tools and the bedding for the beds that we don't even use. So that's kind of the way I look at it is a new way, and in a positive way. And now you kind of have time for more things than just living for your stuff, enjoying life.
Right. So again, the whole point is if you're a caregiver and you're seeing that eventually mom and dad are not going to be able to really stay here much longer, they're going to need more assisted care. There's a chance to start now, a little bit at a time, and being able to sit down as opposed to the other thing we had discussed on the show is obviously stress is a killer, especially for people that have got dementia.
Right. So, right. Well, there's a real syndrome called relocation syndrome, and it really affects our clients if they don't get help. And we've seen it. We've walked into like the middle of a move, and children have called us of their aging parents and said, "You got to help my mom," or communities, those assisted living communities. You got to help this lady. She's in the middle of heart attack mode here, or whether it be a realtor and say, I don't know what to do here. My client is moving, but they're not moving the right stuff at the right speed, or they don't understand their timing. They're having really a lot of trouble remembering my calls, or their task lists, or what they have to do. And so it's a real issue with our seniors is forgetting. They might not be forgetful. Maybe they're not diagnosed with dementia, but when they're under a lot of stress, they're forgetting things. They're forgetting their medication. they're forgetting what they have to do. And they lose track and they get really extremely stressed out. They don't eat. And so we come in and we say, you know, we've got this, and we take care of them. And just the expression on their faces, you know, when you just first go in and then when you leave, they're filled with joy. They're filled with joy, and you can just see that stress off their shoulders. And that's why we do what we do, is because we want to make sure that it's a joyful experience. We want to make sure we get them to the next spot and say, you know what, we've got this. We'll take care of you. They've worked hard all their lives. They've taken care of people all their lives. Now it's time for them to be taken care of. And that's what we want to do.
I think we talked about was interesting on the show. So the 3 most stressful points in people's life is, number 1, death of a loved one.
Yeah.
Number 2 is divorce, and
Yeah.
number 3 is moving.
That's correct.
I remember when I was in college, you know, the 3 deckers in Worcester, we used to, you know, that was stressful. You had to move up and down and everything
All those
else.
stairs. Ooh.
All those stairs. But the other thing is, we had mentioned too, is the other issue is a lot of times the parents may not take it very well from their kids, but they're much better with an independent
Correct,
person
right.
going in there that's objective.
Yes, so that's true.
In other
So
words,
we're the neutral party.
yeah,
So
you're-
so that a lot of the children will go in, and my mom doesn't need this, she doesn't want this, and she doesn't have to have this. And just go in and be careful, like when you talk to her. And okay, you know, and so we go in and we introduce ourselves, and they tend to kind of, they know, you know, they say our kids think that we're crazy or that we don't need this, but I really need this, and I want this particular dish that I, you know, don't use that often, but I would like to bring it. Or I want this dress, you know, whatever it may be. And we hear them, and we listen to them, and we work with them, and we give them our best advice, and we create a system, and it works. And then the kids will say, how did you get her not to bring this? And we say, well, we're the experts, and you're very emotionally involved. And it's that emotional aspect that really kind of tears people apart. You know, you see like weddings and funerals where families break up, and moves kind of create that as well. So we want to come in as a neutral party and really work with both parties and make the best move for mom and dad, and also put the children's worries aside and say, you know, we'll take care of them, and they don't have to. And that's a blessing for them, because they don't have to worry about their parents and what they need, and picking out items and choosing items and going through the memories, and, you know, and seeing their parents stress. You know, there's a lot of love there, but it's, you know, how we approach it. So I think that's a great thing for us to do. Our team is great at it. They're great negotiators, super compassionate. I couldn't do this without my team. They're very, very understanding, very knowledgeable, excellent master organizers, great at decluttering. And I mean, they really are the superstar behind the word RightSized Living. So I want to give them a shout out as well. But like I said, we've been doing this a long time. We work with people that have health conditions, dementia, Alzheimer's. Those are very delicate situations, and we are able to handle those. Again, I mean, our communities refer us for a reason, so we like to say we're kind of the experts on it. But we love what we do, and we do it every day. It's not a job, it's a life calling, really.
Yes, each time you, like you say, you walk away from it, you can see that really the relief on the person's
100%.
face. The other expression I like to use is basically is time is the ultimate currency. We only have so much of it. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, other expression I like, if you figure out how much you make an hour, so take your hourly wage by hour.
Right.
If you can find somebody else to do it for less money,
right.
do it. But again, even if you could, I'm not an expert mover. I would have to start from zero. Mm-hmm. I'd have to find a mover. I'd have to go back and forth. All
right.
that time involved with it.
Correct.
And the other thing, you know, I think the main thing is the stress on the parents.
Right.
What's happening, because they can tell you don't know what you're doing. Number one, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing, going in and doing that stuff. Having people going in there and actually that are professionals outside of it. I find sometimes I'm contacted by somebody again who has parents that have health issues. They won't listen to the kids, but they may listen to me because again, I don't want my kid telling me what to do.
100%. My mother does that to me every day. Yeah, no, we have to have an intermediary, so I completely understand, and it's, you know, it's that personal level. I think that's, you know, really important to have some kind of intimate intermediate person to do that.
Again, I see this soup to nuts. You guys basically do it all. So again, a person starting from this the scratch has to go through a huge learning process. Not to mention the time involved, all the phone calls, calling this mover, going online, see which movers are good, which movers aren't,
right.
and then looking at the new floor plan to the new place that they're moving to. And again, all the stress, because again, if you have a little bit of dementia and you don't know what things are to begin with, then you have to start. So you're basically, and the whole transition to the new place, you have somebody waiting there, as opposed to the caregivers having to go.
Right. So we're one-stop shop, basically. We're one point of contact, and we set all of these things up. The other beautiful thing too is, hearing you talk, Phil, about this is our resources, our vendors work on our timeline. So sometimes a client might call and it might be shut off season with our movers or something like that. Our movers are great. They work with us every day, and we can say, hey, we're doing a move in 2 days, and boom, they're Johnny on the spot, and they work with us. Versus a client calling, they might say, hey, we can't get out there for 3 weeks. And so this person really needs that assistance and really needs that help in that assisted living or that program that they've set up for extra care, and they can't get there. So that's another plus to work with a move management company that's trusted in the industry, that they can coordinate things very quickly. Let's face it, this is a high-touch industry. We work with a lot of personal things. Everything's confidential. And at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that you're safe and that you've had a seamless and stress-free move.
Right, because the other thing is just thinking about it, all of the time involved to do all this stuff. Like, you're right, you need a mover, and you start calling around to all these different movers. The other thing, it's a business, so I'm assuming you give these movers a lot of business. You kind of go to the top. We want to keep you happy because you give us a lot of business, as opposed to me, Joe Schmo, calling out of the blue.
Right.
I don't know you, I don't know this, I don't know that. Not even to mention that the good movers who aren't going to break your stuff and things like that.
Right, so they're very reputable, and they love, like I said, working with us because we make their jobs easier, where they're not moving a piano twice or a bureau twice. They know where it's going, and that's the most important thing.
Okay, so we got the note here.
We got the okay.
We're coming up towards the end of the show. So again, why don't you give us exactly how to contact you, or if they want any more information.
Okay, so it is called RightSized Living. I think it's on the screen right there. It's RightSized Living, RightSized with a D, living.net. I encourage all of you listeners out there, please go check us out. We are on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Check us out, check out our tips, check out our stories. Give us a call. Let us know what your thoughts are. Even if you have questions, we can answer the smallest of questions. There is absolutely no judgment here. Everybody has stuff. We would love to help you. Or at least assist you, give you some good information, some good resources to get this move accomplished in a timely manner and most efficient way. So, if your children have any questions, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, 774-764-7725.
Well, the other thing that occurred to me too is, again, going back to starting from zero, going to the mover. Maybe that particular mover may not have dealt with elderly people that much. So the movers you're dealing with, they're used to this on a regular basis.
Seniors all the time.
Yeah.
They do internal moves. They do moves from an independent living to assisted living, and so they're constantly working with seniors. They're polite, they're courteous, they're knowledgeable, and they know how to pack and wrap things that maybe we can't reach, such as a 200-pound mirror or something like that. We also mount TVs and artwork, so I didn't think of that. We're kind of the extra service that sometimes when the client moves in, they don't have anybody to hang their artwork or mount their TVs. We do that if your community doesn't do that. And if you don't want it done that day, we'll come back in a few weeks when you're kind of all settled in and you have an idea of where you want your artwork. We can certainly do that for you. We love making sure that each home is finished completely and more than satisfactory, and we do all the extra stuff.
Other thing we didn't mention, which I really like, because most seniors aren't that tech savvy. We talked before. If you get Spectrum here and Internet there,
right, we help them transfer the utilities.
They're able to transfer it, so you don't have to do it.
Right,
so,
and we connect their computers as well. Everything's connected. So on move day, when you walk in, if you had your TV and your laptop, your computer, whatever set up in your home, and your speakers, it's all going to be connected that day. So you're going to walk in, your TV will be connected, you'll have access to your Wi-Fi, your landline. All those things should definitely be connected on move day, so you're not waiting a few days later without those things that you're used to.
And funny you mentioned that. Yesterday I spent, my son is a real techie guy, a friend of mine who was elderly, again, not that techie, and I went up there and he needed a new printer, so I set up the printer. Well, my son is a wizard at this stuff. He went in there, he spent almost 3 hours reconfiguring his computer and getting all of his stuff back and forth with it. So, and he would have to pay a fortune for that. So some tech company coming in.
Right.
So I think that's a huge thing. Getting back in, going to a new place and all of a sudden the computer doesn't work. Now what do I do?
Frustrating. It's frustrating.
Very frustrating. So
Right.
we talked about the stress, and I
Right.
think the big thing I'm trying to get across to the viewers is you're relieving the stress for your parents and for yourself. So I think we're almost out of time. So Jennifer, thanks so much for coming on. Again,
you.
this is a great service. I'm really
you.
impressed.
Thank you. We love it.
Yeah,
We
and
love
if you don't remember this stuff, remember me, Phil George at charter.net. I got you on speed dial. I'll zoom it right over to you. Okay, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
One of the most common questions I'm asked as a biochemist and health coach is, what are the best supplements to take? Choosing supplements is a tricky business. Many companies have poor quality control and questionable ingredients. In the past, I had to send clients to several different websites. I am now able to offer one-stop shopping for all the quality brands I recommend with no shipping cost and a lower price in most cases. Just email me, philgeorge@charter.net, for a free consult.